Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone.
I'm back
With another video, another episode of the Islamic Defense Podcast. So, a few days ago, I was a little upset, due to some personal issues and stuff like that. And I even went through a little bit of depression phase, if you could call it that.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
And then I was like, you know what? What is Sadguru been up to these days? The Indian Santa Claus. What is he been up to? So I figured that, let's take a look at some videos from Sadguru. So I decided to search for him. What did you do? Okay. And I came across this video. It was an interview. I don't know, I think it was taken a few years ago. And after watching the video, my depression was long gone. So let's see what Sadguru has to say in regards to women and how they should dress.
Sadhguru, I'm going to foray into another topic which is discussed broadly here, especially in the Telugu states, in the context of various social issues and crime. How girls dress. The onus of dressing right and being right is always on the girl, especially when events...
Because she's getting the attention. Nobody cares how the boy is dressed. But people are looking at how the girl is dressed because she's getting the attention.
So is it a package that because she gets the attention she has to be…
Yeah, she has to dress well because she has to be pleasant to our eyes because we're looking at her. Isn't it? Isn't it important if a lot of people are coming to see this wall, the wall is well painted? Whatever is your idea of well, of course, but is it not true that whatever is being looked at by a lot of people, we try to do the best with it?
Here Sadhguru is committing a false analogy fallacy. He is using a bad analogy to describe women. There is a huge difference between a wall, which is not conscious, and a woman, which is a human being. Walls can't decide anything for itself, where a woman may choose to wear a dress for a number of reasons, which might have nothing to do with people looking at her. For example, a girl may wear a dress to imitate a popular actress or because of the weather, none of which have anything to do with how people see her. Also, I love how Sadhguru is trying to make it seem like women only exist so that other people can look at them. Women don't exist so that people can stare at them like dolls. The purpose of all human being is to acknowledge and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, "O Prophet, tell the believing man to lower their gaze and guard their chastity. That is purer for them. Surely Allah is all aware of what they do." You can read about this in Quran chapter 24, verse number 30. So this shows clearly that woman is not created so that people or men may look at them. Also, here Sadhguru is committing the non-sequitur fallacy. His conclusion does not follow from the premise. Just because people like staring at something, that does not mean that you have to now make it look good. Also, if you go out in public, you might see people looking at all kinds of things. For example, the other day, I went outside and I saw two dogs having sex.
Oh, that's nasty.
As usual, people in my country are very curious, and there's a circle around around that whole incident. So people were watching that. Now, does that mean that we should now have dogs, bring a bunch of dogs and let them have sex in the middle of stadiums so that people can watch it? Yeah, I don't think so. Same way, oftentimes when crimes happen, you have people, bystanders, just watching. Oftentimes they record it on camera. Does that now mean that we should make sure that crimes can happen more because people like watching it? Of course not. So it's a bad argument. Now, however, some Hindus may argue that, but our religion does not teach this. It actually teaches the opposite. You see, it may surprise you, but from the perspective of Hinduism, Sadhguru is actually not wrong.
Nani?
I know, because according to many Hindu scriptures, women were created simply to make man horny. You don't believe me? Here, take a look at this. According to Brahma Purana, 61:22-41, there can be no creation without women. This is why, at the command of Lord Krishna, Brahma created the woman to entice the heart of lustful people. The beauty of woman is the seat of illusions, the bar or bolt in the way of man's act or karma, the impediment of meditation and the harbor of evil. So, according to Hinduism, we can conclude that the Hindu gods created woman to make man horny. So, it's no surprise that Sadhguru thinks that women must make themselves look prettier. Also, in Manusmriti, it says, knowing the disposition which the Lord of creatures laid in them at the creation to be such, every man should most strenuously exert himself to guard them when creating them. Manu allotted to woman a love of their bed, of their seat, and of ornaments, impure desire, wrath, dishonesty, malice, and bad conduct. You can read about this in Manu Smriti or Law of Manu, chapter 9, verse number 16 to 17. So again, the Hindu gods created woman with impure desire, which means, sexual desire and dishonesty. So in other words, women were created to be evil. Interestingly, then it says in Mahabharata, Bhishma said, it's even so as thou sayest, O thou of mighty arms, there is nothing untrue in all this that thou sayest, O thou of Kuru's race, on the subject of woman. In this connection, I shall recite to thee the old history of how in days of yore the high Solud Vipula had succeeded in restraining women within the bounds laid down for them. I shall also tell thee, O king, how women were created by the grandsire Brahman, and the object for which they were created by him. There is no creature more sinful, O son, than woman. Woman is blazing fire. She is the illusion, O king, that the Datya Maya created. She is the sharp edge of razor. She is poison. She is snake. She is fire. She is verily all things united together. In a former creation, O son of Kunti, women were all virtuous. Those, however, that sprang from this creation of Brahman, with the aid of an illusion, became sinful. The grandsire bestowed upon them the desire of enjoyment, all kinds of carnal pleasure. Tempted by the desire of enjoyment, they began to pursue persons of other sex. You can read about this in Mahabharata, chapter 13, verse number 40. Now, I could be wrong here, but it seems like from this text that in the beginning, according to Hinduism, women were not evil. However, later on, for some reason, Brahma pissed at women, not sure why, for some reason, and changed his mind and decided that, women should be evil. Okay, so to be fair, from a purely logical perspective, it's not really an issue, since gods, if they exist, can create or do anything for whatever reasons, right? However, here's the issue. In the epic of Mahabharata, it describes a massive war of 18 days between two factions, and they are basically rival families, kind of like Game of Thrones, for the succession of kingdom. So this war, according to Hinduism, also involved various different Hindu gods, and they pitted them against each other. This war is known as Kurukshetra, or the Mahabharata. In this war, a character named Yudhishthira also participated. So did his brother Karna. However, his mother chose to keep his brother's identity a secret, which eventually got him killed. As a result, he was angry and he cursed his own mother. Not just that, but he also cursed the entire womankind. Mommy issues. So basically the curse was that woman would not be able to keep any secret. Later, this guy went to heaven with his mortal body. Now, what I find ironic is that these Hindu gods are the same people who created woman to be deceitful and evil. Then when these women do something deceitful and evil, instead of blaming themselves, they punish the woman by cursing them and belittle them. I mean, if you're going to curse and belittle this woman, then why did you create them to be evil in the first place? I mean, this creates a serious philosophical internal contradiction in Hinduism. This shows that Hindu gods have no idea what the hell they're doing. Now, if women were not created to be evil, and then they did evil things, and then the gods punished them, then that would make sense. But that's not the case here. This shows that these beings cannot be gods, and these stories cannot be real because gods cannot make mistakes like this. If they do, then they cannot be gods. So it's a dilemma. Now, I don't want to be disrespectful to my Hindu brothers and sisters out there who are watching. So again, it might come across as disrespectful. I do apologize. However, please tell me if I'm wrong. If I am, you know, I'm willing to learn. I mean, I'm not an expert on Hinduism, so please comment down below and let me know how do you reconcile this? Because the way I see it, I really genuinely don't see how you can reconcile this contradiction. I mean, how can gods create women to be evil, and then when they do evil things, they punish them? I mean, this shows that they actually made a mistake by creating them to be evil. But regardless, let's continue and see what else Sadhguru has to say.
You can dress either to show your intellect, or you can dress just to enhance your biology, or you can dress in some other way which indicates something else. So it's your choice whether biology is the front end of your life or not. If biology is your front end, you will get that kind of attention. If your intelligence is your front end, you will get that kind of attention. So you must have the sense where, for whom, how you dress. Do you want your biology on the front end on the street? No. Maybe in front of your lover, your husband, you want your biology to be the front end, there you dress differently. With a public you dress differently. I think these are things that we've always known. It's not something new. Women have always known this. So the question is, what kind of attention do you want to get? Accordingly, one should dress.
This is a really bad argument because it's based on a false premise. Let me explain. Premise 1. Women who wear seductive dress promote their biology. Women who does not wear seductive dress does not promote their biology. Therefore, women should not wear a dress in public that promote their biology. Now, if you realize both premise 1 and 2 are false, how a woman dress has nothing to do with them wanting to have sex. A woman can wear a dress for a number of different reasons, and that has nothing to do with sex. For example, a woman may choose to wear a seductive dress to follow a fashion trend or to follow a famous celebrity. Or they may wear it simply because it's hot outside. However, that doesn't mean that they want to have sex with you. It also doesn't mean that they want to promote their
Biology is…
Now, obviously, I'm a Muslim and I don't support either man or woman wearing provocative dress. However, Sadhguru's argument is still a terrible argument against feminism. Yes, some women definitely do choose to dress seductively so that they can seduce men, but that doesn't mean that all women do. This is actually a gross generalization and fallacious statement. However, the real reason wearing provocative dress is problematic is that a sexual predator will not know or care for what reason you're wearing a seductive dress. Okay, they will not care. All they will likely see is that they now have an excuse to attack you. So don't give them that excuse. Because if someone wears a more traditional dress or conservative dress, then if they attack that person sexually, then they genuinely have no excuse for that. But if someone wears seductive dress and then they get attacked, now they have a social excuse. It's not a good excuse. It's not even a valid excuse, but still it's an excuse. It's something they can tell themselves that at least it's not all my fault. And my argument is simply don't give them that satisfaction. Don't give them that excuse or chance. Also, dressing properly alone won't stop sexual assault. I see this a lot because I feel like people don't understand this, but wearing the hijab alone or wearing conservative dress alone, I don't think will stop sexual assault or rape. because there are many cases where rape still happens despite women wearing this type of clothes. Although it's rare, but it does happen, and oftentimes it happens because family members decide to do this. So again, this alone, I don't think will fix the problem of sexual assault. What you need is a proper Islamic society, and that means no more free mixing between man and woman. No more women going outside without a family member, or without their husband, for example, or any haram things, for example. For example, alcohol is a big reason why sexual assaults happen. Drugs is a reason why sexual assault happen. Pornography. We have to stop all of this, and only then can we expect to see a reduction in things like sexual assault. But that's a different topic, and it's a very big topic. Inshallah, I'll talk about it in later time. But I don't think this is the case that if you just wear hijab or something like that, that's going to automatically stop sexual assault. No, you need a lot of different things to all come into one place. Only then can you have a society that's free of any kind of sexual assault or rape. Regardless, let's continue and see what else Indian Santa Claus has to say.
This is the first generation of women who've stepped out onto the street, into the workplace, into the factory floor. This is the first generation of women who've stepped out. This means a whole lot of men are not used to female proximity. They're not used to it. You better understand that. You are not in America, where they're used to female proximity for 2-3 generations. Here, this is the first generation, it's still struggling with it.
I love how Sadhguru is acting like, all the men in the world were just living under a bunch of caves, and then one day they just woke up and decided to go outside, and then they saw that all of these women were just outside, they just came out of nowhere.
And then they were like, oh my God, guys, what do we do? All these hormones, what do you do with these hormones?
I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, sexual assault and other type of violence against women have been happening in human society for thousands of years. It has nothing to do with women all of a sudden coming out to work. Also, no, America did not have generations of women wearing provocative dress or intermixing with men, for that matter. Women in America first had their right to vote in the year 1990. That's not that long ago. You see, despite what Hollywood movies would like you to believe, America was, for the most part of history, was a very conservative country. Until late 19th century, when sexual revolutions started to take place in the 1960s. And this sexual revolution was actually a very big reason why America changed so much. But I'm gonna make a separate video on sexual revolution, inshallah. So put a pin in that. Now, if you look at the screen, here is a picture of an American woman in the year 1960 with her baby, and here is a picture of possibly 2 Hindu women in India wearing a sari in the year 1960. Now, as you can see, Americans were way more conservative in their dress, even more so than Indians. So the idea that American women were wearing, whatever they like for generation is absolutely false. Regardless, let's continue.
Sadhguru, one last bit on this topic. Can men be taught how to handle the proximity?
Well, it's a question of getting used to. If you have 3 sisters at home and you're growing up, you're used to female body parts around you, and you know that's not the way it is. Right from your childhood, you understand. But you did not grow up like that. Suddenly you go in a bus and somebody is close to you. You must understand, people are… their intelligence is hijacked by their hormones. Yes, they're proud. I've heard boys sharing how they groped, and how they did this to each other, among themselves, how successful they were today.
Natty, you sickle.
Many of them have moved from villages to cities.
Really? No, I don't know who the hell Sadhguru has been hanging out with lately, but I went to a boys' school and I have never heard of boys bragging about groping women. So, Sadhguru, you know, listen, maybe you should change your friends, just saying. So, sure, I mean, there were obviously scoundrels in my school, and in all schools there are scoundrels here and there, but I don't think I've ever come across a friend of mine that, bragged about groping women. That just didn't happen. Or maybe I went to like a crazy school. Maybe it happens all the time. But I personally have never experienced that or know anyone who would brag to people about groping women. That's disgusting. Maybe Sadhguru is remembering his time with his buddy Salman Khan. I mean, who knows? Also, this whole idea that people from the village having no idea what woman looks like, and then all of a sudden they see a woman and they go just hormones.
Biology is
It doesn't work like that. Like people in the village, men in village have seen woman. It's not like they have never seen woman. Like what? I don't know what he thinks people in village like do all day, but woman and man usually in many cases work side by side. It's not like they live in cages or something or in caves. And this is a very poor stereotype that all village men are like this. That's not true. There are really good men in villages who wouldn't even look at women in the wrong way. And there are really terrible sexual predators in high societies. Like look at Harvey Weinstein. He's such a nice gentleman, right? This is a very bad stereotype. Just because someone is from the village does not mean he's a sexual predator. And just because someone is from a high society, from whatever society that is, rich society, doesn't mean that person cannot be a sexual predator. This is a stereotype and this is a lie. I think Sadhguru needs to take a look into the kind of people he hangs out with or people who come to him for advice. Regardless, with this I'm done. This is a fun video to make. All the sources will be linked in the pinned comment, inshallah. If you like my content, then please do consider becoming a Patreon. Also, don't forget to like, share, and comment. And yeah, Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, I'll see you guys in the next time.